Good morning, all of you. Welcome to the online classes of TMPS. Today we'll be finishing up the chapter that we have started. This chapter we have started in the previous video. You have studied about the period of transition, which is also known with the name of Renaissance. I've told you about Renaissance. You must remember it. Renaissance was basically a French word that meant the rebirth. Renaissance, basically, I've told you there was a rebirth of literature, rebirth of knowledge, rebirth of the commitments towards the religion. There was certain aspects that were there in that. We have discussed about the causes that led to the Renaissance. In this chapter, we'll be basically studying about the changes what was brought by the Renaissance in the European society. Basically, I have told you it happened in 15th and 16th century in the European society, and it is a very important event that led to the remarkable changes in the European society, which not only changed the Europe but also the whole world. It is a very important event that took place in the world history that opened the path of Europe towards the outer world. They came to know about different lands, they came to know about different positions, different places, and this is a very important, remarkable aspect that was there in the Indian context also, because you know that Vasco da Gama came to India in 1498. This was a sad day in Indian history. 1498, when Vasco da Gama discovered the sea route to India. When he went back, the Portuguese came, then the Europeans, basically Britishers came, Spanish also came, Dutch also came, and finally India was a slave under the Britishers. Let us talk about the chapter at this moment. In the earlier video, please go through the video once again, that video, so that you should get a remembrance, you should get the brief of the things which we have studied. We have discussed about the causes. Today we will be discussing about the changes that was being brought in the European society after the Renaissance. Basically, when the Renaissance came, what were the changes in the European society? Basically, we will be first starting with the literature portion. What happened? Earlier, the literature was confined only to the mythology. The people were told about mythology, Bible, and they were not allowed to read new things. They were only confined. They were only restricted that they should only read the literature which is related to mythology. But what happened when the Renaissance took place? There was publishing of more books due to the invention of the printing press. Correct. Gutenberg's printing press, I have told you one reason was there. So due to the printing press, the new books were being published on large scale, and the people started reading habit, and reading became the favorite pastime, favorite leisure activity, the favorite hobby of the people of Europe. What happened? That literature became a very important source for reviving the knowledge among the people. Now the mythology subject was shifted towards love, romance, patriotism, then society, social development, social division, human values. So what happened? The literature covered various things at that portion. You must have known, you must remember the name of William Shakespeare. He is a prominent playwright. You have studied a lot of his works. So William Shakespeare was also from that time only. There was various other. John Milton was there. John Kepler were there. So there were different people which were there who wrote various things. Utopia was being written at that moment. There was various contribution, ideal society, how the ideal society should be there. So the whole literature changed. The main portion was the literature which was confined to the mythology changed, and it developed a far more broader aspect, and human values, human nature, love, romance, nature, beauty, everything came into power, and literature became more and more prominent. Playwriters like William Shakespeare came into portion. Then we talk about the changes in the religion. What happened? Earlier what happened that people used to believe on the priests, popes, on a blindfolded manner. They used to be told by the pope that you have to do these things, and irrespective whether they were correct or not correct, they were blindly following them. They thought that the popes which are telling them these have to be done at any cost. If they are not doing, they are doing sin. So this feeling was being revived now due to the rational thinking and scientific approach. This was also a cause that I have told you, rational thinking and scientific approach. What happened now the rational thinking and scientific approach developed. If we are doing so, what are the reason for doing so? If somebody is telling us do this, why I am doing this? they started questioning themselves. So what happened? The religion also transformed. Instead of following the people blindfoldly, following the priest blindfoldly, following the Bible blindfoldly, the Bible was not taught in a correct manner to them. They started asking questions. A sense of inquiry developed among themselves, and they started moving towards a proper positive channel of religion instead of getting exploited by the religion. Then what happened? There was a great success in the part of art, sculpture and painting. What happened? That frescoes, new fresco paintings were being developed. Then what happened? Art was a basic revival at that moment. You must have heard about Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci, basically Mona Lisa painting of Leonardo da Vinci is one of the remarkable paintings of not only of his time but in the present world also. Mona Lisa's painting is to be said as a 3D painting having different postures at different positions. So it was a remarkable painting that was brought which was made by Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci was a person who was an all-rounder. He was not only a painter, he was a sculptor, he was basically an astronomer also, he was also an anatomist. He studied the human body also. He discovered and designed the aircraft model which was being patented after so many years. So this was basically remarkable achievement of the people of that period. Italy became the hub and it became a source of inspiration for the whole of Europe. Then what happened? You must have heard about another name, that was Michelangelo. Michelangelo designed the Sistine Chapel. Sistine Chapel is the biggest church, and he designed the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel with the Judgment Day. Judgment Day basically is a painting, or it's a basic sculpture which was being used from frescoes and different designs. The sculpture was being carved out and they had the Judgment Day that was imparted on that. Michelangelo played a very important role in designing these statues. David's statue was also being made by them. Then there was another various big contributor towards art and sculpture. They were Lorenzo, they were Raphael. Raphael was also there. Raphael basically designed the gates which was considered to be so beautiful gates that they deserve to be a place in heaven also. So there were various achievements by these people in their times. Then science, a very important portion at that moment. Science, what happened? Science also developed in that moment. That science, they now proved the things which were being told to the people blindfoldly. Now the science proved them whether the things are correct or not. Earlier it was being told that the Bible is telling that the sun is a body which moves around the earth and earth is a stationary object. That was proved wrong by Copernicus. You know, Copernicus was hanged for this, but he proved himself as the sun is the stationary body and the earth revolves around it in an electrical path. Then telescope was being developed. Galileo Galilei is an important person. Isaac Newton also published his papers. He found gravity there. Then there was John Kepler, who developed different physics models and different instruments. So there were different things that were being brought and they were being told by the people. These were beautifully executed and the science developed in that period. Not only the science, literature, medicine also developed a lot and they were growing in a fast stature. They also found out new sea routes and trade routes to different countries, and people like Columbus, Vasco da Gama, then Magellan Fernandez took the whole took the whole round of the world, which may prove that Earth is round in shape. Telescope was being made which were able to see the distant object, that they were circular in shape. Now the people understood that Earth is also circular in shape. So these were different achievements of the people of that time and their contribution and changes that were being brought in that period. I hope this much is clear to you. Today we'll be finishing this video. So what would happen? This chapter would be finished. So there are certain keywords which you must understand, and these are left in this chapter. Let us finish it off. Industrial revolution. What do you understand by the term industrial revolution? Industrial revolution means when the revolution is being done through industries. What happened earlier? There was a revolution that was being fought with different people, they started fighting with each other. But now industrial revolution was there. What was industrial revolution? The people started establishing industries on a large scale, and the production was done not with hands, with through machine. So France became an industrial hub, then England followed soon and became the almighty industrial hub in the European society and in the whole world. And this transformed the whole situation of the world. Industrial revolution was a great achievement of the Renaissance, and after Renaissance, industrial revolution never took back, and it is still going on a large scale. Industrial revolution, once again, you should remember that setting up industries on a large scale where the production are done through machines and with the help of automatic things rather than with hands. Then we talked about capitalism. What is capitalism? Capitalism is basically a instrument in which the things which are being owned and controlled, industries which are being owned and controlled, all the units which are being owned and controlled by a private individual. Where what happens, the private industrialists which have lots of money, they invest in that money and they form industries. Suppose we talk about Reliance Industry, Bharti Airtel, we talk about different industries such as you can say Bharti Exa, you can say Idea Cellular, Vodafone. These are all private companies. So when they are owned and controlled by the private people, that is known as capitalism. All the profits are taken by them, and they used to do the things for profit motive. They do not have service motive in their mind. They wanted to earn more and more profit, and it led to the exploitation of the people. They started exploiting the people on a large scale when they were teaching and when they were doing these economic activities. When they were exploiting, so another new concept developed, that was socialism. Under socialism, what happened? The people said that now the things of production should be owned and controlled by government. Instead of the private individuals were exploiting the people. These are interconnected. You should understand that. Private people were interconnected. They were being exploiting the people. They were being making the people abuse. They were being making the people work hard, and they were not paying them properly. So what happened? Socialism concept developed so that the people were being given rights. They were not being exploited, and they should be given more and more freedom, and they should be paid properly for their work, and all the means of production should be owned and controlled by the government. Next important term, reformation, also came into form. Reformation, what do you understand by the term reformation? When I talk about reformation, one important name is there, Martin Luther. Martin Luther basically was a person who reformed the whole European society. He raised his voice against the luxurious, lavish life which were lived by the popes for their own selfish motive, and he reformed the whole society and the religion, where he started Lutheranism or Protestant movement that we will be studying further in future classes. So these were the new keywords that you have to understand, plus these were the changes that were being brought. I hope that causes you must study in the previous video. You must go through the previous video as well as this video, then we will be doing question answers of this chapter. Thank you. I hope that you must understand all the things.